no tie day, the no tie Monday.
No tie, yes. No tie Monday, yes. All right, so there we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, Mayor Doug, welcome back. We've just established you're not wearing a tie today.
It's no tie day.
Well, the weather's
sorry.
nice out.
It's getting nice out.
You don't want to be constrained when it's this nice out, you know. But yeah.
I do carry one in the closet door there, just in case I got a
just in case.
meeting. But I'm feeling pretty relaxed today.
Yeah, it's always good to be prepared like that. But yeah, we appreciate you making time for us here again on a bit of short notice. And I guess first off, it's just looking at everything that's happened in the last week, of course, with everything going on with the ethics board. Obviously, there are things we can't discuss in this forum like that. So just if anybody's expecting some sort of a bombshell moment, that's probably not going to happen. But you're looking as well with the way the ethics board is structured.
Right.
And obviously, it's tough to kind of make all these changes on the fly when there's something that's already in process. But just give us a kind of an idea of what you'd maybe like to do with the way the ethics board is structured.
Sure. So if you look back maybe a few years ago when it was kind of dormant and then it was re-seasoned, restructured, reconstituted, they should have looked at the laddering so that they have the proper sequencing. So in April when I got here, I should have had one come open. They're 5-year terms, there's 5 members, 1 per year gets. So if you take over for somebody in midterm, you don't get 5 years, you get the remainder of their term. So, I guess we could go back and look and try to figure out what caused it, but I think, look at Police and Fire Commission, they're laddered at once every 5 years. We're very structured on that, and we hold a tight ship there. I think what we need to do is, how do we move forward? And my suggestion would be, let's determine of those folks holding the same seat right now, which one is the legitimate 5-year term, and he or she will end in April of 25, and then which ones are essentially serving on extended tours right now, and their terms should have been shorter. And then when we replace them, so if they expired in 22, 23, or 24, when we replace them, the new person won't get the full 5, they'll get the duration of what that term would be to put them on the proper laddering. How do we do that? How do we get there? My suggestion would be maybe we do something simple like draw lots. Okay, you're now the 25 expiration, you're the 24, you're the 23, or you're the 22. And when we do, and they're serving in a capacity right now on an expired term, theoretically, which is acceptable. But once they're replaced, that new person will take up the duration of their term so that we get them properly sequenced and laddered and structured as they should be.
Because, and of course, this is because you've got 3 of them that are going to be expiring later this spring. And again, there's an open situation right now. We don't know what that means for that. So if we can, you're kind of thinking now, if we can get this corrected, we'll make sure that this doesn't happen again the next time something happens, no matter what that may be.
Well, and if you also think about it, if you want to fill, we should want to fill those alternate spots so that those alternates get a chance to sit in and hear and participate in the process in case they are needed. So right now, it's why a jury has alternates. Right now, we're in a situation where we don't have that. We don't have an alternate. So, I think the council needs to kind of think, the message I got was, hey, we like the guy. He's a really nice guy. It's nothing against, it's nothing personal, but we don't want the mayor to have the appointment. And then on the other hand, I heard you, we really like you, but don't you have other candidates? And yes, we do have other candidates. So do you want another candidate? Don't want another candidate? So I think council needs to think about logically what's the message. And then I think at the end, when they elected to table and not make a decision, then somebody said, well, what happens if we get into a recusal situation? I don't know if you saw that. What do we do? Well, then we'll come back and ask the mayor to bring this gentleman back or bring somebody back. Seems like an odd way to, we either should do it or we shouldn't do it. I haven't lost any of my powers that I'm aware of, but they I think would like to operate as if I have. So I think take a breath. Let's look at it logically, get it on the right track, and keep moving.
And it's important to note that having other candidates right now is something that you definitely want, because again,
Sure.
there's 3 terms that are expiring, so that's 3 right there that would need to be replaced unless they're maybe interested in staying for another term.
Right.
Don't know what the regulations would be on that. We haven't gotten that deep into the
I think
weeds
all of
yet.
these are first termers, so they would be eligible for continuation.
Yeah.
And again, if they express that, they'll be put in the mix as possible candidates. Like I mentioned, there weren't a lot of candidates that lined up at the door until recently when people started applying.
Right. So having a pool of candidates to choose from would definitely be something that would be good for the city right now, right?
Right. And, I did this with the Police and Fire Commission. We were not in the prior administration checking the political affiliations, which is a requirement by state statute on Police and Fire Commission. This other stuff here on ethics is just the city code. But we're going to fix it, and I will fix it, and we will get it right. We need to run a tight ship. The public expects us to be doing these things correctly and ethically. And I'm not going to look back and say that the council back then was unethical. How would they know? The clerk presents the spreadsheet. You trust the spreadsheet, or whoever was reviewing it back then. The city attorney advises the ethics board. So we'll get it correct, and I'll feel comfortable moving forward with it. Trust the process.
Absolutely. So then next up, we've got some news out of the fire department. You've got a new program with the fire department that you're hoping is going to bring some more firefighter paramedic positions into the city. Tell us about this.
Yes. So it's a firefighter. It's an apprenticeship program. So one of our challenges has always been we're competing with other cities, and sometimes they scoop up the candidates before we get a chance and we get a crack at them. So we're doing is trying to get them while they're in their schooling stage. We offer a certain amount of, I call it a scholarship incentive, to sign on with the department before they're 100% complete. Because normally we have all of the certifications and training done before we hire. This allows somebody who may say just be firefighter qualified and they don't have the paramedic, or they don't, so they now have an opportunity to finish that schooling, work in the fire department as an apprentice. So they'll be going to school some of the time, they'll be in the fire department other time, working, riding along, doing work with the department as apprentices. So really they're getting some OJT plus the schooling. And so far, I think we had 9 applicants on the first go, and we filled the first 3. This was our goal, and then we're looking at potentially adding a couple more.
And I think part of this, the benefit is you're getting them in there when they're young, training them, building them up. That's good for the department as a whole, because at a certain point, when you're looking for a new deputy chief, when you're looking for a new chief, when you're looking for other middle management positions, you want to look internally and not only have people who know the department and know the community, but be able to reward them for their commitment.
We like to promote within, but when we're looking at fire chief, deputy chiefs, we're always going to look for the best qualified wherever they are in the country, in the region, in the world. But yes, if we can grow them internally, that helps us get stronger. 100% want to get them early on in their careers. Once you get here and you like Wausau, if you're from out of town, if you're from, I don't want to name a town, well, let's say Stevens Point or Rhinelander, and you're going to school up here, once you feel comfortable in Wausau, why don't you stay here in Wausau? We don't want to lose them back to somewhere where we're competing.
Yeah, and so the program so far, I would say it's in the very early stages, but you've had 9 applicants right now. Is that something you would consider successful?
Oh, I think so, yes. And especially the ones eager to sign up and take advantage of that. And it's helpful. It may help some who can't afford to finish their schooling and get or at least finish their schooling quicker, because they might be working part-time jobs to get in there. Don't tell Weez I said I'm competing with Stephen's point, but we're competing with the world,
secret
really,
safe with me.
and
Yeah.
we're looking to be a department that people aspire to go to.
Absolutely. That may just cost you a cigar or some bourbon.
I think I owe him one anyway,
at
so
a certain point, but we'll let you two work through that. Anything else that you'd like the people to know about what's going on in the city here these days?
Well, we just inked a little deal here with, I haven't inked the deal per se, but the county voted 31-1 to join the city in a partnership on the homeless initiative to provide shelter, and we'll be putting out an RFP for 365 shelter. So that sprung out of committee of the whole. Going back early on when I got here, we had a committee of the whole because the council said this is important to them. Mm-hmm. We had Lance Leonard come in, we had all the stakeholders, and out of that we hit on a thing. Let's city county task force and see what we can do to maybe come up with a partnership. We did that. They've met over the last 100 days and made a recommendation to the county board to match the city in this effort, and they took us up on it, and now we're forging that partnership, and I think that is huge, to send a signal that this issue isn't just a Wausau issue. It's a regional, it's a county issue, and I think as a partner, staffing wise, financial wise, we can address it much better if we look at it as a region as opposed to one little spot here downtown.
And I know that what is it you're going to be looking for in this? I know you're probably looking for not only beds, but probably some case management and other training for these individuals.
Well, I think long term, so we're taking a baby step with this first $200,000 from the city, $200,000 from the county for the first year, and then the second year hopefully is 365 shelter and the services we're talking about. But I think we're also looking to eventually get to the transitional housing. We looked at La Crosse as a potential model. La Crosse County and the city of La Crosse have a partnership, and they're a few years ahead of us in this process, but we're going to be keeping an eye on them and seeing where they're being successful and see what we can bring here and copy. So I think long term there are a lot of things, and this task force did talk about a lot of things, but we needed to narrow the focus so that we could, within the charter that we had, is to start somewhere, and to start with that partnership with the county. Mm-hmm. Get a small little bit of seed going there. We have some ideas. The RFP will be coming out soon.
Absolutely. Well, we'll look forward to seeing where that goes. I know this is obviously a topic that it's been discussed for a long time. It's been discussed from the podium at public comment for a while. Mm-hmm. It's been discussed from the dais itself for quite some time. And I know the one thing that a lot of people tend to say is homelessness is not necessarily something that one person is going to have all of the answers for, because they're so complicated as to how somebody ended up in that spot to begin with. So you see this as just that key kind of small first step that can get things going?
Sure. You're right, it is complex, but it's there. It's complex, but we should have some involvement in dealing with it and helping the situation. Clearly nobody, I don't think, would argue that we want the homeless population to double in the next 5 years. I think success would be, and we use this term, functional zero. Can we help people get off of drugs and alcohol or whatever their condition is, find them a pathway? I think the La Crosse uses the term pathway home. Mm-hmm. Can we find a pathway to a more comfortable living lifestyle that we all would want to enjoy? Mm-hmm. And can you bring that number down and get more people who legitimately don't want to be out there. And I think at heart, most of them, if they're under the bridge, wouldn't say this is the path I wanted to, or I foresaw in my future when I graduated from high school.
Right.
You know, so I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate the time, Mayor Diny. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Well, that was 15 minutes. We really hit her.
That
Thanks.
was, yes, indeed.